The Remington 700 is probably one of the most popular series of bolt-action rifles from Remington Arm, which are all based on the same bolt actions. Being one of the most popular centerfire bolt-action rifle with so many variations, you probably have a lot of things you know about the Remington 700. But what we're going to take a look at is we're going to take a look at the top 10 things you probably didn't know about the Remington 700. Number 1. Beginning in 1962, the Remington 700 began producing this 700 design with 30 different calibers ranging from the 17 Remington to the 458 Win Mag, which gives you extremely large variation of rounds you can fire through this bolt-action rifle. And of course, many of the most popular on there, including the 308, the 25-06, the 270, the 30-06, 7mm. There are so many to mention. Number 2, there's 20 different versions of the Remington 700. The Model 700, the SPS, the ADL, the AACSD, the AICS, the ADL, so many to mention. The Tactical Chassis, the Mountain LSS, the Police Model, the M24, the M40, and the Light Tactical Rifle. So many variations to mention. There's over 20 variations to mention on this list. Number 3, in 1996, Remington made the Remington 700 ML. For muzzleloading. Since 1996, they've been producing the 700 ML, or this muzzleloading version. In fact, in 2000, they made the 700 Etron X, but it has an electronic primer igniter. Number 4. Almost 20 of these Remington 700 varieties come in 30 different calibers, many of which come in several different barrel lengths, which gives you over 1,000 different Remington 700 varieties. Number 5, between 2013 and 2016, Remington received over 2,000 complaints, lawsuits following, suggesting that the trigger can be fired without touching it. These lawsuits argued that the problem was really that Remington had covered this problem up, causing dozens of deaths and several injuries, suggesting that 2007 and prior triggers can be fired without squeezing the trigger. Number 6, in October of 2010, CNBC started an ongoing investigation series on Remington called Remington Under Fire. This series showed documents suggesting that Remington considered recalling several times and never did. Number 7, but in 2010, Mary Mike Walker, inventor of the Remington 700 trigger system, in 2010, at then the age of 98, told CNBC that in 1948 he had produced for Remington what he calls the safe trigger, and that it was rejected by Remington due to an extra cost of 5.5 cents. According to inflation, you'll get about 50 cents. Number 8, in the end, Remington argued that all these triggers were adjusted beyond recommendations and were altered. And it was on December of 2014 that Remington agreed to replace almost 8 million Remington 700 triggers. Number 9. In 1966, Charles Whitman used a 6mm Remington 700 to kill 16 people and wound 32 others from the University of Texas clock tower. And finally, number 10. There are 6 different countries that regularly use the Remington 700 for their police force and their militaries. On this list include Australia, Canada, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and of course the United States, including the Border Patrol, the Navy, the Marines, and the Army. So there you go. There's my top 10 list of things you probably didn't know about the Remington 700. If you'd like to see other top 10 things you didn't know about certain guns, click on the playlist below. Also, you can find us on Facebook on our God, Family, and Guns. But by far the most important part of this YouTube channel is it is a ministry to us, and we take prayer requests. And we put that at the end of every single video we make because God has asked us to, and we're going to obey. So thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.